noticed since Chris came back with the comic movies that like the white kids she won't bring back. And they don't treat her like lazy and fancy. Now, I think it'd be pretty awesome if more bottles are made. And you have to be involved too. The Alpha's taken down and created because you deserve it. What if you all came back together and took it down and finally together? All the bottles. It's on Matthew, so.
We could do it.
Yeah.
I think these chicks could do it. We got power tools.
Okay, what's the next question over here?
So, learning that you're all a bit afraid of horror movies, have you ever been alone or had
I didn't say I was afraid of horror.
But have you ever like found yourself at home by yourself or woken up from a nightmare with Jason in it?
No, because everyone knows mine wasn't Jason. I've had to hear about that for the last, 30-something years. It wasn't Jason!
No, I haven't.
No, it's funny. In life, I do not get the creeps. Like, in this, mostly at all these conventions, I always use the stairs to go up and down because the elevator is so crazy, and everyone's like, "You use the stairs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so I really don't get the creeps out in the world. I only get the creeps when I watch movies. So I don't really think about Jason coming again."
And thanks to Tom Savini, I am not a wuss. No, because I have to be honest with you. I was scared to death after The Exorcist, which totally makes me laugh because now I look at it and I giggle. That's the movie that frightened me to death.
Right.
If you watch it now, the special effects do not hold up the way Savini's do. And he was kind enough to invite me into his little parlor of creation on the beach in the cabin to watch how he actually did things. And so when it came to the Kevin Bacon scene, I begged to be able to go into the cabin to watch it being filmed, and they let me like lay in the corner and watch. And ever since that movie, that particular scene, and watching how it was done and the whole thing, oh my God, I'm hooked. I'm so hooked. I go watching and looking now for the special effects, and it takes all of that creepiness out for me. So thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
Questions in right here?
Well, the scene where Jason comes through the window, I knew it was going to happen, and it still scares me. It's like if I said to you, I've said this before, sorry for repeating myself to everybody, but, if I said to you in 30 seconds, somebody is going to come up behind you and really scare you, your body starts getting like a little bit jazzed, So if you spend a month of your time at night, cold and wet, and somebody is you're running from somebody, or you're scared, or that somebody's going to come after you, it creates just this sort of energy in your body that gets a little bit exhausting. Yeah, you're on edge. I mean, trying to do the window and the door, and jumping out of a window, and you're acting scared after a while. It's you're scared.
Okay.
I was going to say something about it. When Jason comes into the cabin and I'm with Corey, and we start running up the steps, I remember actually that same feeling of like, we gotta get up, like really being scared. First of all, you want to go fast enough so that he doesn't catch up to you, so you have to do it again. But you also there's a certain amount of adrenaline when you're doing this kind of action action moments that they do feel kind of scary, but you prepare it, but still.
And these were days where it was film, so you only had so much film, and if you didn't get it right, so A, you were scared because the monster's after you, so you're acting. B, you're scared because if you fuck up, and they're gonna be really mad at you if you don't hit your marks,
Yeah.
because they're wasting film, and they have a very limited amount of film, so you don't want it to be your fault. So, there's a couple components that kind of like.
Okay, question right there.
My question for Adrian King. I know that you visited, you're going to visit Crystal Lake again up in New Jersey, June 2nd, but it's sold out. But when you go up there, every single time you go up there, what are the memories from the film that you get the most often? Like, can you tell me any funny stories, any ribs?
Yeah, it was crazy because the first time I went back there, I think it was 2018, and Stacy, who most of you know, our manager, Roxanne, was the only person who could actually convince the Boy Scout leaders that instead of preventing the fans going on, right, and sneaking on, that if they actually opened the gates and sold tickets, they could make a friggin' fortune, and God knows they do. But it would be a win-win, so that all of us campers could actually see the real deal, since it has been kept absolutely, incredibly 1979. And they know all our stories. And the first time I went back there was April 13th, the weekend of April 13th, 2018. And as we're driving up there, this whoosh came over me that I was 22 again. I just felt like, oh my God, this is just so incredible a feeling. I hadn't been thrown back, like you talk about sense memory. Oh my gosh, you smell the woods, you get out of the car and you feel like this squishy earth underneath your feet, and you smell the leaves. And the first thing that happened the day when I drove on there, it was like a little minivan, and all the kids like Kevin and God, who else was in that? Marcy, Janine, and Lori Bartram, and 4 of us, I think, and the guy who played Nettie, Mark Nelson. We were all in this, and we were all so excited, because this was like a big deal to all of us. We were just starting, and it was really, except for Kevin, who had the Animal House in his roster. For us, it was everyone's first big film, and we were all New York actors, and this was gonna really break. But when we got out of the van, we realized the crew was just as passionate as we were. So everybody up there, they had this incredible, we're gonna make the best horror movie, and this is gonna be awesome. And I immediately put on my jogging shoes, and I jogged around the lake, and it was just, when I went back there this time, it doesn't wear off. Every time I go back there, I feel that sense again, and it's kind of very interesting how certain memories are so alive and ingrained in you that you just think about it and you're there again. And I think for all of you who have been there, you'll kind of agree with me that it brings you right back to the first time you saw the movie, and that you're a teenager or you're 7 years old, and not supposed to be watching the movie, But yeah, it's a real trip, and it's like going back in time, because they've really kept it, and there's no cells, so the boogeyman could come up and get you. There's all, and people pay to be scared. It's so wonderful. It's just, and we lived their childhood, I think, or their times when life, the scariest thing out there was Jason. So I think it's just brings me back to my youth, which is a cool place to go to once in a while.
Okay, who else has a question? Right here.
Oh, yes. So before my question, quick sign, I just want to mention Brian Fuller is one of my favorite storytellers. Usually when he adapts something, he's not just a storyteller, he's a fan when he adapts a project. So I just want to say that. So that's when I heard he was doing Crystal Lake, I got immensely excited. But I wanted to ask regarding, is there any experience that's truly memorable from any of the Jason films you were in that was from pre-production, post-production, or pre-production, production, or post-production that really was not just memorable but personal and interpersonal, just very special to you, that stuck with you and just remained with you in addition to all the other stuff and the scares and is there anything really truly not just memorable but personal and sweet that stuck with you all these years?
I can share a Betsy story.
That would be amazing.
But this is way post-production. So Sean Cunningham kept Betsy and I apart because he didn't trust that we wouldn't become friends. And sure enough, when we reunited in 2004, we did become friends, and we got very close over the years, and she became, like, we filled voids for each other. She had a difficult relationship with her daughter, I had a difficult relationship with my mother, and so it was interesting that we really did come together and become quite close. And one of the most poignant moments ever for me was I had the Crystal Lake Memories book that I had brought to New York. She had invited me. I was there for something, and she invited me to come to her apartment on Central Park West. And I didn't realize that Peter sent me a book after both of us missed the Universal signing, and so I brought her the book because I wanted her to sign it for me, or she wanted to look at it. I can't remember what the reason was. And I ended up giving her mine because she was going to show it to her. It was Mother's Day weekend, that's what it was. And she was going up to see her daughter in Connecticut, and she said, "Oh my goodness, let me take a look at this." And she started flipping through it, and she went, "Oh my God, look at this book. We started all this," she says. She goes, "You and I started this." I said, "I know, Betsy." And she goes, "You know, they gave me so much hell because they said this was below me." And they did. They gave her so much hell. They gave out her address. The Siskel and Ebert gave out her address in 1980 when it came out for hate mail. They wanted people to write hate mail to her so that she would know how she had really undone her career because she had started with Henry Fonda and whatever. And so it took her a real long time to get over that. And so here we are, and it had to be like, I'm thinking 2010-ish. It was after 2010 because I brought her wine, and Crystal Lake wine, and she loved the red wines too. And so we had a glass, and we're looking through the book, and all of a sudden the tears start rolling down her eyes. And I said, "Betsy, what's the matter?" She goes, "Oh no, these are happy tears." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, I don't think it's so bad being loved as Mrs. Voorhees. They're going to remember me. And they're going to remember me as the best mother who would kill for her son."
100%.
And so she said, "Thank you for sharing this. May I take it and show my daughter?" I said, "This one's yours. You keep this one." And she goes, "I love that. I love being Mrs. Voorhees." And she was like smiling, and she goes, "I think I can go to my grave now knowing that I did right." Oh, isn't that beautiful?
I love that.
Oh my God. And it's such a beautiful and tender moment, and it forever, it just made me feel good because I knew she had really suffered a lot over the years in dealing with that, and she finally came to peace with it, and I was there when it happened.
So,
Yeah,
that's
it was
great.
a sweet time.
That brought me to tears.
Oh well.
Anybody else?